Hi guys. Up until recently, I've always used the 6up data tool to update Armour and the Dayz mod. That's pretty much all I used it for. I didn't actually use it to browse for servers. I used the in-game server browser, mostly because, well, I didn't really think this was much use, to be honest. It's just a big grid of stuff. Recently, however, I've discovered another tool which is called Dayz Commander. A Dayz Commander you can access by going to dayzcommander.com. You can download it on the download link here. You'll need .NET version 4 to run it. And in this guide I'm going to take you through Dayz Commander, show you what it's about, how to tweak your settings and how to find good servers, and pretty much wrap up by telling you why I think it's actually a better tool than 6up data. Okay, so if we start off by kicking off the Dayz Commander itself, it's fairly quick to load, as you can see. Let's just maximize that. Now straight off the bat you'll notice this, refreshing all servers, 4,500, there's a progress bar going along the top here. You can, in the settings, turn this off. I'll show you how. But what it's doing at the moment is going out onto the internet and literally rediscovering all of the servers that are available that are running Dayz. Now this can take a little bit of time depending on your network connection and some of the settings that you can set in here. You can turn it off to stop it from doing this if you don't want to, and then you can just manually kick off this process. It's up to you. There is a quicker way, I'll show you in a second, of just refreshing the servers that it knows about, but what this is doing right now is discovering all the possible servers. It's not something you have to always do. Now let's start off by saying, well, how do you actually update Operation Arrowhead and the Dayz mod? You'll notice this versions here is highlighted in yellow, and if I click that, it tells me that something is out of date. Normally this would be green. Dayz Commander, as you can see, is up to date. Armour 2, it's telling me, is out of date and needs updating, and the Dayz mod itself is also out of date, and it's showing me what the latest revision is. Now one of the things I find is quite useful about this particular one, the Armour 2 version, is this piece of information. Because it's polled all the servers, it's actually telling me what percentage of servers are running which version. So I can use this, when a patch comes out, I can use this to make a decision about when to actually update my Armour 2 version. At the moment you can see that 46% are running the 885 version, 20% on 417 and so on. You can scroll down this list and this will guide you as to which version you actually want to update to. As for the Dayz mod, it does a similar thing here. Now the 172.5 has been out now for the best part of 4 or 5 days while I'm making this video. So straight away I can see that I really should update from 2.4 to 2.5 because the majority of servers have now moved over. But after a patch just comes out, you may want to just hold off before you do this, because if you do upgrade, you might not be able to find a server to play on. Now when you're ready to install the latest patch, you literally just click on these links here and it will automatically update Armour 2 and Dayz. I won't do that now, but it will just do that for you. It's quite nice. Okay, let me just run you through some of the settings of Dayz Commander, which is here. Now there are options here to use the GPU. I've not actually ticked that myself. This is one option you might consider, closing Dayz Commander after joining a server. That's purely personal preference, but what we're saying is, when you double click to launch a server, do you want Dayz Commander to shut down completely or just stick around in the background? Personally, I have it sticking around the background because when I want to hop servers, it's already fired up. If you're using Steam, you'll want to use these options here. Now, if you bought Armour 2 via Steam, you'll want to use launch using Steam. As you know, you probably need to patch Armour 2 to be on the beta version. You can either do that via Steam, or you can have Dayz Commander replace the Armour 2 OA files with the beta version itself. It depends which way you want to go on this. The game directories it automatically discovers. The max connections governs, at the start when it's updating all the servers, this is how many connections it uses to go and poll for all the servers. If you increase that number, performance goes up, but it will obviously put more of a strain on your internet connection. Finally, you've got this is the option I was talking about, to whether or not to do that on startup, and this is a 24-hour time format. Again, pure preference to whether you like 12 or 24-hour times. Now let's take a look at the actual server browser itself. Up here we can filter by name. So for example, if we want to play on a UK server, we just type UK into here. If we want to play on a US, we can type US, and so on. If we know we want to play on a UTC- server, we can put that in, and it'll automatically, as you can see, it's quite a quick filter. So we can filter directly by name here, or if somebody gives you the server name and says, oh, I'm on UK333, you can just put in UK333 and you'll see the server. In fact, I'll do it now. You'll see the server highlighted straight away. You just double click it and off you go. Now the max ping, obviously anybody on the internet knows what this is, but you can literally slide the ping times up or down depending on what you want. Obviously anything under 100 ping is going to run better than 150. But 150 is still acceptable on Armour. It's when you start getting above that, up into the 200s, that's when you get to the point where you might start seeing some lag. But as you can see, the results are actually updating automatically as I adjust that. The survivor count is used if you want to. Let's say you want to go sniping, and you want to join a server that's got some players on it. So you want to slide this up and you say I want at least 20 players to be on that server. Well, Dayz Commander is now going to show you the minimum count that you've set. So if we want to play on a very populated server, we might go all the way up to say 40. As you can see, we're down to just 13 servers that are matching our criteria. You may be wondering why some of these are grey and some of them are white. We'll cover that in a second, but for now let's just put that back down to something reasonable. Options to hide empty and hide full servers. Normally I would hide empty. I wouldn't necessarily hide full, because in my experience, even though you've got a full server, if you double click to get in it, people come and go on servers all the time, and if you keep double clicking on the server, it might take you a minute or two to get into a full server, but you can still get in it. If you hide them, you won't see that at all. So it's personal preference, but personally I don't run with that ticked. Now we're into this option here. Do you want to hide locked or unofficial servers? These are servers, as it says here, that are not connected to the central hive and therefore considered unofficial. You might consider it to be hacked servers, but what it means is they're disconnected from the hive, so when you join in, your loot will probably not come with you. Personally, I always run with that on, because I only want to play on official hive connected servers. Hide unplayable servers is, you probably want to leave that on. It's going to basically hide servers that are restarting, so they're in the process of booting up. Although that doesn't take a tremendous amount of time, there's not much point in having unplayable servers listed if you're just looking for a server to jump into, so you probably want that on. Now, hide the wrong Arma 2 version. Remember back here on the version count? This is the version we have and the latest version and so on. If we tick that, it's going to hide all the versions that don't match our version. So you can see down here, all of these now are 885, and 885 is what I'm currently running. So what that's saying is, only show me servers that match my Arma 2 version. Possibly not something you want to have on. Wrong Dayz version, however, you may want to have on. As you can see, these are 1.7.2.4. If I update to 1.725, then that will obviously only show me servers on 2.5. That's a useful thing to have on, because you really want to be playing on a Dayz mod, a Dayz server that matches your Dayz mod. But, realistically, you should be looking at this to determine when to upgrade, so you should be always having that ticked and always playing on a mod that is generally got the most server count on it. That way you're going to get the most servers. But now we're coming to some of the more interesting options of Dayz Commander. With Dayz Commander, what it does is actually processes this line here. This is the server information line. Now, there is actually a standard for this, which Dayz commander uses. I'll show you now. If you go to the Dayz wiki, you'll see the current naming format is this. So all servers should, and I say should because they don't, start with Dayz. Then it should come the location ID, which is US, DE, UK, whatever the country code is basically. It should then be followed by the version number. It should then show the various options for third person perspective, whether it's on or off. And then it should show the crosshairs, whether that's on or off. And then it'll have the time zone and what the offset is on that time zone. Finally, it should then say who it's being hosted by. Now this is the standard, the naming standard for servers in Dayz, but not all of them follow that. I would suggest to you that you should play only on servers that do follow that standard, because it's kind of an indicator to me that that server's being run properly and legitimately. They're not trying to hide anything from you. As you can see looking down this list, there's no crosshair information or 3D third person information on these servers. There is on this one. What Dayz's doing is it's processing this information here to help you to filter these things out. So what that means is, if I only want to play on day servers, I choose day. If I only want to play on night servers, I choose night. You notice it's picking up GMT +2. Currently for me, because I'm in the GMT time zone, I can confirm that this is night at the moment, so this is correct. If I choose a day server, then you'll see that the offset is UTC +12, -6, -9, and so on. So these servers are running daylight hours. Or if you don't care, you can choose any time of day. So that's quite nice. Normally you want to leave that on day, unless of course you really want to play on night. But nighttime Dayz, as you probably know, is a whole different ballgame. Now, the way these filters work is grey means you don't really care, green means you definitely want that, and red means you definitely don't want that. So, if I want to play on a server that has the third person option, I make that green. What that means is all these servers here have that option on, and you can see that in the settings column here. These icons are directly relating to stuff going on in your filters. So if I hover over that, you've got the third person. These are all third person servers. The next option along is tracer bullets. Then we've got nameplates, I'll come to that in a second, crosshairs, and finally death messages. Now for me, the important ones are the third person option, the nameplates and the crosshairs. Nameplates in particular is important to me. Now the way Dayz servers operate, there are actually 4 different types of Dayz server. A recruit, a regular, a veteran, and an expert. Now you very rarely see recruits, so I'm not going to worry about that. Most people who start playing Dayz will go for regular servers. Now regular servers, perversely, are actually more likely to get you killed. The reason is because a regular server will actually show what's called the crosshairs or the nameplates. Sorry, it will show you the nameplates and the crosshairs, but the nameplate's the important one. If you scan your crosshair around the battlefield, if you like, or Chinaris, if there's anybody just sat in a bush, it will instantly pop their name up. Even though you probably didn't see that player, it will show that person's name and it will show the range to the target. For that reason, I do not like nameplates being on, which is why I play on veteran servers, because a veteran server has nameplates turned off, or should at least have nameplates turned off. This is set by the server administrator. That's another reason why I recommend to you that you only play on servers that follow the naming convention, because if they declare here that third person is on and crosshairs are on and so on, then chances are that when you get in the server, that's exactly what you're going to get. Whereas if you play on a server that doesn't declare the information, it's anybody's guess, because the Dayz servers don't actually communicate that information back to Dayz Commander. Dayz Commander is literally processing this information that it's given. If you have nameplates turned on, you'll have a range to target. Now if you imagine a sniper's looking at you, you're running across the field, he moves his crosshair over you, he instantly gets your name and range, dials in is zeroing to the exact range of you, and pow, you're dead before you know it. If you play on a server that doesn't have nameplates, he's got to work out, using traditional methods, how far away you are. And most people don't know how to do that very well, so the chances are they'll miss you. That'll give you a chance to escape, go prone, get behind some objects or whatever. So for that reason I recommend, and this is my recommendation, that you have nameplate off, so you have that on red. You will survive longer in the long run, trust me. Crosshairs doesn't really matter. That's the hip firing, whether you see the crosshair in the middle or not. And the death messages is just a message whether, when somebody dies it'll say such and such a body has died. Again, that's up to you. Same with tracers. The important ones to me are third person and nameplates. I have third person turned on and I have nameplates turned off most of the time. The reason being, not because, a lot of purists will say, oh, you shouldn't have third person turned on, but when I'm streaming or I'm recording footage, actually third person is quite useful, but it is also a bit of a hack in some respects, because you can actually stand next to a fence or a wall and you can see over the top of it in third person mode, and a purist quite rightly will say that's not the way the game should be played. It should be first person only. Certainly if you turn off third person and nameplates, then you are entering the realms of a veteran server, an expert server, because that's what expert settings should be, is these things should be turned off. Okay, so that's my settings. That's what I run with, generally speaking. Down here you've got the date, the time of the servers currently running. You've got the player count. You can refresh a server individually here. You can see the player counts changing when I do that. Or you can refresh all of the servers in this list by clicking this icon up here, and that will quickly refresh these servers that match your filters. Again, this is not refreshing the entire server list. It's only refreshing the servers that are matching my filters. So generally speaking, these are my settings, and quite simply, if you want to play, you just double click on one of these servers and off you go. Dayz Commander is, I think, a better tool in this than 6 Updater because of all these sophisticated filtering options. I can find servers quickly. If you do play on a server and you decide you like it, then you can favorite it here. You can see I've just favorited LU313. If I go to my favorites, that's now been added. So if you find a server that you like, you can favorite it. You can bypass all the server filters then. You can just come straight here, see how many players are in there, double click, off you go. If you want to see what servers you've played, then just look through the recent tab. Friends is not actually that useful. It's not as sophisticated as it sounds. If you've got a friend and you know his name, you can put it in here. And when you load up the servers, it will actually process the players on those servers. And in here, it will then tell you which server that friend's on. You can double click and join it. Not very useful for me because I change my name in-game all of the time to prevent stream sniping and so on. But if you've got a friend and you both have the same name, if you both have a fixed name, then you can just add your friend's name in here, and that will help you to find each other a bit more quickly. But it's not that useful because it will actually show you any name that matches. So if I was to call myself Squirrel and somebody put Squirrel in here, it's going to show you Squirrel, SquirrelsNuts, DaSquirrellsNuts, Squirrel123, anything that matches. So not terribly useful, I don't think, unless you've got quite an obscure name and you agree that with your friend. But favorites is definitely useful, recent is good, and these server filters I think are really fantastic. If you like this tool, you can donate here. You can chuck some money in the guy's direction. This is actually a good tool. I love it. I think you'll love it too. Go and check it out. That's dayzcommander.com. Hope you enjoyed this guide. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Take care guys. See you soon.